You did hit me.
No, you over-exaggerated that.
You hit me.
Did
It
not.
was awful and painful.
I did not.
What dance was that? You've been asked what dance that is.
This is called TikTok's dancing. I don't know which one it is. I'm just dancing.
I'm Judge James.
I'm Judge Evie.
This is Living for Crits. My hair is acting up. I don't know what it's doing. I was trying to fluff it before the show. This is how I do it. This is how the hair gets done. And
no, it should be done differently.
Well, I got to shower this evening instead of this morning, and it ruins the hair for the whole day. Well, for the rest of the day. All right, so what are we talking about tonight? Let's discuss Grimtooth's Trapsylvania.
Oh yeah, we're out of there now.
You got out. Tell our viewers how you escaped.
So I think we just suck so bad, and then you figure we're never leaving, and you're like, let me just cut them some slack and get them out.
That wasn't how it worked.
I feel like that's what you were thinking of, though.
The party completed their segment of Grimtooth's Trapsylvania, and that's yeah, so we're done with that. I don't know if we could have kept you there the entire time. I had planned 3 sessions in Grimtooth Trapsylvania. They were really, really, really dragging, and we
weren't trying to.
You weren't trying to.
We just suck.
You weren't trying to, TOO. You weren't trying to. Like, huh? I mean, you just kind of like were phoning it in each game.
What do you mean?
I mean, like you were. There was no attempt. You guys were infighting, all kinds of stuff.
We're just being,
intelligent piece of Scrapple, trying to deal with that. I mean,
we were just being us.
Maybe. I guess that's fair.
That was trying for us.
I think we're gonna try Dungeon Battle Boston next. As we go back into the dungeon battle scene, they did leave with a downloaded version of Grimtooth trapped in Kyle's subconscious, I believe. So that'll be fun. Yep. Keith's saying his allergies hitting him hard. My allergies are ruining me today. So I apologize. I'm really, really dying with the allergy front. So I apologize for my sniffles and any kind of nose wiping or sneezing that goes on. Or any coughing, not COVID. Anywho, I played Chad the Demon Lord this morning. That was fun.
Which I'm going to play soon.
We'll see about that. Mm-hmm. Good game. This morning I ran an adventure called As High as Horror. It was essentially a party trapped in as an experiment in a tower of elves. So I tried to make it really dark, and my friend Ray who played in it said, like, horror wise, it was like a 2 out of 10. And because last week's game, I was told was so gross, like 2 players had their heads in their hands. So this week I tried to tone it back a bit and have be more existential horror. I'm not.
And you got a 2 out of 10.
It's a 2 out of 10. Deb's giving a shout out to the Demon Lord. Yes, praise the Demon Lord. It was a good game this week. We had a question here from Keith from Udisoid. Are you going to Gen Con online? No. We're not. We're not doing any. We were going to cover this in Road Crew shoutouts. Let's just move Road Crew shoutouts to now because we're not doing anything. I think our plans for that week right now are to be working on the house and getting the rest of the house in order from post move because we moved like 2 weeks later. We were in full COVID, right, or 3 weeks later. So we got this room together, and this room isn't even done. I have some Demon Lord art going on up here. I'm having framed because you can get Demon Lord art on Redbubble. What? Oh, the tea delivery's coming.
Delivery?
We have a tea delivery, I think.
Tea
Mrs. Walls is showing up with a tea delivery. This should be a part of the show.
The tea moment.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. What kind of tea is this?
It has a steeped
blueberry pomegranate.
Blackberry pomegranate. Look at that.
Wow.
Clink, clink. You can't drink it. It's too hot and steeping. Yeah, Keith, we thought about it. I thought about it, and I'm just gonna do stuff like off the books. I don't see a point in. I gotta say, the online gaming thing, I love doing it with people that I know. I don't so much like doing it with people that I don't know.
That must be weird. You're like, hi.
Well, that's how a normal con thing is.
I know, but it's online. Hi.
You know what really is a challenge is gaming with people who don't show their video and who you don't know. That's really, really tough. So in light of all that, I will be running games that week, but they're not going to be part of Gen Con online. We did roll our tickets to next year, so we'll go to Gen Con next year.
There's no DunkCon this year.
No, there's not. No, there is not. If there's a Gen Con next year, I guess, right? Because let's keep our fingers crossed. I think sans vaccine, which I'm still not feeling super hopeful on that front right now, since we really can't seem to pull it together in the United States. Sans vaccine, we're going to be in online gaming quite a bit.
What's sans vaccine?
Without a vaccine. Sans. Without.
Sans does not mean
Lacking.
without. What? That's a character from Undertale in a bad font.
You know what?
That is not...
What? Comic Sans is a bad font. Sans. Pardon us as we look up the word
we're
sans.
red. Oh no,
Sans.
yellow.
Preposition.
Look, fictional
Without.
character.
Without. Flavorful vegetarian dishes, sans meat, eggs, or milk. Without.
That's stupid. It's an Undertale character.
You can't say a word is stupid.
It's stupid. I just did. Boom.
Okay. You know what's
Yeah.
stupid is shrub.
That's... Yes, shrub is stupid, but the shrubs, it's great.
Sans the French word, Dev says. And Mutazoid said the same thing. And Savage Philly GM Rob says, Florida is America's cautionary tale. I really hope. I love a lot of people in Florida, so let's hope it's not the case. I've been playing a lot of Skyrim this week still. And we've been playing some Animal Crossing. You've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing this week. I was surprised at how much Animal Crossing you played for someone who's not a video game player.
That's like one of the only video games I'll play.
You can't whisper like that.
I didn't whisper.
You did.
No, I didn't go like this.
Here, I'm gonna put the mic over here since no
I'm
one can
not
hear
a
you.
whisperer.
I think it's better.
Everyone can hear me.
I don't think so.
I'm not whispering.
Let's talk about Evie and baking for a moment, because
Oh my gosh, I do that all the time.
I'm not, I am getting incredibly big at the moment.
No, you're not.
I have like a full-on stomach from like all of your baking. So Evie's becoming a master baker.
I made donuts last night.
I know. You're making donuts and these
Yeah.
cake cookies.
I made cake. I not make cake cookies.
Well, whatever you
Which
call
one?
those. Those chewy cookies. What are those called?
I've made like 10 different types of cookies. You gotta explain.
I don't know what you're making. I just know sweets show up every night.
Yeah.
Every morning your mom's left with a pile of dishes to do.
Yeah.
Keith said he finds video games more appealing now during the pandemic. I've finished 2 games this year so far. I finished Breath of the Wild and I finished Octopath Traveler. I hope to finish Skyrim. I'm really looking forward to Baldo, which is like an action RPG for the Switch, which looks like a Miyazaki movie. And then I purchased Witcher 3 for the Switch because the Switch is like the ultimate gaming system. You can keep your PS4s and Xbox Ones. I love the Switch. I can play it wherever I want to go play it at. I can play it downstairs here, the living room, downstairs, or the game room. I can play it in the bedroom. I can play it anywhere. Switch. Rob says he's been running at 5:30 a.m. every day. I see about one person every other day. Man, I haven't run since March. So maybe February. All right, let's move into Judge Evie Presides. This is the segment where Judge Evie...
People sending questions.
we have some questions here. Go ahead and
We have
grab them.
one.
Here's a question here. Ever used Tabletop Simulator from Greg?
What is that?
It's an online platform to game. And no, we haven't.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a virtual tabletop.
Oh.
I've seen it. I don't know if it works on a Mac, though. I have a Mac.
Okay. We have a question from Horse Legs.
This is Maggie from our game.
Horse Legs.
Okay. From Horse Legs.
Okay, I'm just gonna read word
And
for
just
word
so
what
we all
she
know,
said.
they call her Horse Legs because her character was a centaur.
Yeah, and like for Christmas, we just cut up, we cut the horse legs, like the legs of a plastic horse off, and put them in a bag, and then
Read the question from Maggie.
Okay. So I said, instead of y'all, it said talk. Do talk have any topics, ideas, or questions for tonight? That is what I said. That makes no sense, but yeah.
Okay.
And Horse Leg said yes. Have other people ever seen their own party when they were playing a different game? That sounds so confusing. So basically like how we saw the Shrubs, but we weren't playing as the Shrubs. That still makes no sense. Sorry. But I understand.
What she's referring to, and I think is in our DCC game, when our PCs were trapped in a bird cage because they got shrunk into action figure size after engaging a bad save point in the game. So I inserted save points since it was a electronic game. I had Grimtooth. He had uploaded copies of their characters from another campaign into the game, breaking the fourth wall completely, and I had those characters appear. And I don't know of any game I've ever been in where players were playing. Actually, it's not correct. That's not correct. Once before I've done it. No, I did.
When?
I ran a 3.5 Ravenloft campaign way back where the players were monster hunters. And then we converted to 4th edition about 7 or 8 sessions in and did new characters playing in Ravenloft. And about halfway through the campaign, we had a game where the original characters showed up, the monster hunters. And actually, I let them go back to playing them, but they 4th edition those characters. And there was almost a TPK of those characters, and one of those monster hunter characters survived and joined the party, and that player had to choose every game which one he was. His original monster hunter converted to 4E, or his monster character, because our 4E campaign for Ravenloft was based on every PC was a monstrous race trapped in Ravenloft. So it was, like a Goliath, a shifter, a goblin, and a tiefling. Yeah, it's pretty cool. A good time. Get some questions here from Dev. Want to get your second question from Greg's booted up?
What? It wasn't really a question.
Oh, Greg was just saying he wants to game with us at...
Yeah. He just said he wants to game with us in general.
Well, we want to game with people too. One day it shall happen. Dev says, do DCC or Shadow of the Demon Lord count as indie games? I have no idea where indie starts. That's a really good question.
What's that even mean?
Indie means made by an independent game company, I guess, right? Like a smaller print game company.
Oh.
Would you say? I don't know. I would count them if it's not a major game company, like a company that's like I don't know. If you had a for-profit company, you have Hasbro, right? Is a for-profit company who owns Dungeons and Dragons. That's definitely not an indie game. Pathfinder, does that count?
Hasbro owns Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
They make My Little Pony.
They do. This is true. I don't know. I look, Shadow of the Demon Lord is most of that comes out of Rob Schwab's head, and DCC is pretty small. It's still, I think it's one of the larger, smaller print companies. I would still count it as an indie game. I think most of the games. I mean, but what do you say? I mean, is Savage Worlds, is Pinnacle Entertainment Group, is that an indie game? They're not a very big gaming company. I get surprised even with my wife's company working at Monty Cook Games. They're not a very big game company. It's like 9 people. So, like, is that huge? I mean, it's not. I don't think it is. I have 1,500 employees where I work. That seems pretty big. I know even Wizards of the Coast doesn't have that, I'm sure. Working on D&D, right? They have a lot more material, but probably couldn't afford to. I don't know how much D&D makes in revenue. Lex says, I usually think of everything outside Wizards of the Coast as indie, but more accurately, it's probably products by individual creators. That seems fair. I think that if you maybe Paizo, take out Fantasy Flight, although what they're doing with RPGs is kind of weird right now, and D&D. I think you have a lot of stuff in there that's indie. Greg is a great point. There's a lot of indie game producers creating Savage Worlds content. So even if you didn't, there's probably some middle tier that I would say Goodman Games, Monty Cook Games, Pinnacle Entertainment Group kind of fits into where it's indie. And this is a question you really can't participate that much in.
I have no idea. I'm like, whoa. Hey! No!
Sorry. I kicked your chair. All right, and that was the questions. We had some good questions through the chat. We appreciate that. Any future questions, send them to dccjudgeevie@gmail.com. We would love to see them and talk about them. And as we go into our next segment,
we have such a big topic for tonight.
We're just hanging out right now.
We have no idea what to talk.
Here, we'll talk about Savage Philly GM's thing in our Road Crew shoutout segment. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna put that into Road Crew shoutouts here, Rob. Okay, I'll mention that here in a second. Your Weird World 1 game. Maybe give me an idea of how to contact you if you want to have someone online reach out to you, and I'll toss that in the notes here and add that to here in a second. All right, we're just hanging out tonight. We don't have any major topic. I thought about it. Actually, I was thinking about. We've done this before, but putting Evie under some more pressure about a little gaming pressure about what about thoughts for what she likes and doesn't like in role playing games.
Don't do this to me.
I asked a question this week to the Shrubs, talking about what they've enjoyed in our current campaign, what they haven't enjoyed. I would like to potentially by the end of summer transition. I've been thinking a lot about this, about transitioning our Shrub game or that crew into another game system to try out that would be more. Give everyone a different taste. We've been playing Dungeon Crawl Classics in that group for about 2 years, here and there. A little over 1.5 maybe, right?
Well, we started last March, so not this March.
No, not the show. The game with the kids. It wasn't last March. Was it last March?
No, April was April.
Okay, so it was 1 year. I thought it was 2. Okay.
We haven't even been living here for 2 years.
Yes, we have. 2 years last month.
Oh yeah.
March, June 14th. Oops. 1 year. And I was considering giving them a taste of a different game system. We all know that I won't play 5th edition again because it's made by a corporation that is Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, and I would rather see the money go to people that I know. Hence, even if it's not personally, but I know who's making the content. So that's one thing. And plus, I just didn't enjoy 5e very, very much. And there's a third part of it that there's a lot of. I've been playing D&D for so long. There's a lot of kind of baggage with D&D. Even making your own campaign or whatever, you're still reminded of it in the character monsters and all that stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. So I was trying to think about what to run in the fall, and I sent a question out to the Shrub group, just asking about what they liked, didn't like, things they enjoyed. And one of the I was interested to hear Josh's comment about the challenge of playing of DCC, of some of the limitations. And I thought I'd ask you at the limitations maybe of the game and your thoughts on some of DCC's limitations a little bit.
Why are you doing this to me, man?
So some of the things that Josh pointed out. One thing was how in Dungeon Crawl Classics you have just the 7 classes. And that's definitely a limiting factor. And you have the race as class situation where, and if you think about it, a dwarf is really just a warrior that smells gold and has a good shield attack. And halfling's a luck battery, which is interesting. But the other thing he said was a challenge with if he wanted to make a character that was a thief, he had to roll a thief. He wanted in this game to be a thief, but he rolled wizard, so he played wizard. Do you feel it at all, Evie, that you feel limited? You rolled you had a character, a good personality, and a good strength. Party had no cleric, so you opted for cleric. Did you really want to play a cleric this game, or did you just kind of fall into it?
No, clerics are cool. I've never played them before.
Yes, you have.
No, I haven't.
You played a cleric in our game at the.
Okay, that was one.
Yeah.
Wait, which one was that again?
The one we played at the Gameskeep.
I kind of blocked that out of my memory.
You played quite a bit of a cleric.
I don't remember that at all.
You played one.
Okay, well I don't remember it, so it doesn't count.
So let's drill into this a bit more. Let's put you more on the spot here, Evie.
No.
So how do you feel held back at all playing DCC, that you have no control ahead of time for your character?
No.
At all? None?
I'm not good at coming up with characters. This is a lot easier.
Because it's just there and made built for you?
Well, it's easier, to be like, okay, I want this, and I want this. and this has to work with this, and this has to blah 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 blah, and I'm gonna spend an hour and a half making my character or more because it has to be perfect.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't do that because then you're emotionally attached and like more emotionally attached than you are like see Teddy. If I spent hours making Teddy, I would be a lot more emotionally
Well, it
attached
doesn't take
to Teddy.
hours to make a character.
If I spent an hour
in every
making
game.
Teddy, I would have been a lot more emotionally attached to Teddy than like something I would make a lot much longer too. So if you get emotionally attached and they die, you'd be super sad. You'd be like, oh crap, I have to go through that whole freaking process of making a whole new character and thinking of a whole new backstory. And I suck at making backstories.
You know, death is less
It's a whole
prevalent
thing.
in other games, right?
Okay, but still, it could die. And yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, what?
Just yeah.
Just yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Say hi to Rachel. Rachel's on.
Hi, Susan.
Keith agrees with you. He actually likes it about DCC, and he agrees with Evie. I want to play and figure out what the character is after I play.
Exactly, because you could make, you could make a whole character, and then when you finally start playing it, it would not work with your game. You'd be like, I need to have this, and this, and then you could go into the game with this whole thing that you spent hours on. And yes, John, I know you spent hours making characters. Going back to what I was saying. You could spend hours making something, and then you go in, and it's just not compatible or whatever, and then you're like, oh crap, I had to work so hard.
What wouldn't be compatible if you...
I don't know, it just couldn't work. Everyone could hate your character, and you'd be like, oh dang nabbit.
In most games that I've played in, and I've played in both versions of games, and I had a character in AD&D 2nd Edition when I was in high school and middle school that went through 15 levels, years-long campaign, that I was forced to, that was the character I could play. My roles let me play. I had a good intelligence and a good constitution, so I played a gnome magic user or whatever. I could not have been a fighter with that character build or a thief. I was kind of stuck playing that kind of character. So that was fun. But I've also played in games where I've built the character myself ahead of time, and I've had a chance to bring something to the table I wanted to see. So let's say that I'm playing on a Skyrim right now, and I'm playing as a sword and board warrior in Skyrim, awesome shield bash, great cool sword attacks, all kind of one-handed weapon character who's also a blacksmith and an enchanter. Like I go around, I have all these enchanted materials, and that's what I do. I fight with swords and shields, but I can enchant. And if I wanted to play a character like that, I could not do that in DCC unless I rolled in a very specific way. So what if I came to the table? What if I came to your table? Let's say you were GMing. I came to your table and I said, Evie, I've been playing Skyrim. Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
I've been playing Skyrim. I want to play as Zorgraz. Zorgraz is my orc's name. My orc warrior in
interesting name.
No, it goes the same way forward and backwards. Zorgraz. Zorgroz. Yeah. I want to play as him. Okay?
Okay.
And that's what I want to do, is I'm really inspired to play this character. How would you respond to me?
Probably just say yes.
Okay, but what if my rolls don't do well enough? What if I roll a 7 strength, but I roll like
just let you re-roll.
Okay, so that's a possibility.
Yep.
But I want to be an orc warrior, and there's no orc in the game.
Well, then you just have the mutation to make you look like an orc.
So I'm just gonna look. So there's no other ability with it. That's it.
I don't know.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is that there is a benefit to playing characters that you've had some chance to build, and for some people.
Well, some people, they like that better, and some people don't. You
and
can have
Shannon
your own
says,
opinion.
at that point, why roll? And the game I've been playing right now mostly is Shadow of the Demon Lord. And Shadow of the Demon Lord, I wouldn't roll. You would get it based on, where you assign your. What class, what path you pick gives you your stats essentially. I was building characters in Fantasy Age and forgot that's the game you assign stuff. What are some good comments here? Greg said you get attached to a character by playing it. That's true. So that's a good point. So any character you play is you get attached to.
Well, yeah, but like if we spent more time, more attached.
Let's see here. I think someone asked me to play Knave. I have not played Knave. Is it an OSR game? I'm really getting tired of old school games. Just saying. Let's see here. Keith, if you make a character that has certain traits but doesn't fit what the adventure is about, you get nothing. Well, I mean, that's true, but that's true in any role-playing game, right? Like, if you play a warrior and your GM is running adventures with a lot of fighting, you're going to get nothing out of the game. Your crappy stats do that to you as well. Low personality and low intelligence in DCC, you're not going to contribute anything to a conversation. So anyway, let's see here. A lot of good comments. Keith, but if you don't expect the character to fit in, you don't care, just explore and build it out as you, I guess. And I don't know. Savage Philly GM Rob says, as a GM, I like games with no rolling for attributes. There's that's like Demon Lord, and that's like Fantasy Age. On Fantasy Age, you can roll for them. There's also an option to just assign them. I think that's the same for Cypher System's the same way. You enjoyed Savage Worlds. You didn't roll for any crap in Savage Worlds. You just had stats assigned. You assigned them yourself.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Okay, so let's discuss your Savage Worlds character. You played for a year, finishing freshman year, in Savage Worlds.
I like Savage Worlds.
Okay, so why is that different? And you said you don't like that way of gaming, but you had a really good time playing your.
Because I didn't put a lot of thought into that.
Because I built it for you.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Okay, well you kind of did, but like. Well, you see, wait, I gotta think of something to say. Wait, I'm great at this whole like debating back and forth thing. If you can't tell, I should be on like the debate team.
Why? Let me ask you a question here. So, like, why do I have to help you so much with your character still?
No, you don't. I have the DCC ones.
Do you? Is your character leveled up for next week?
No, I haven't done it yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm playing my ukulele.
You're playing your ukulele?
My ukulele.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other feedback on this topic? Just want to move on.
What topic? We've had like 7 topics in the last 5 minutes.
Well, on this single issue.
Well, what issue?
Never mind. We're gonna move on.
I'm so confused.
I think that was our topic tonight. It was Judge Evie and point buy versus rolling versus.
What's point buy mean?
Point buy means that point buy is like Savage Worlds, that you assign what's good and what's bad. So in Savage Worlds, you can just have all your points evenly spread out over your from agility, smarts, strength, spirit, and vigor, and you can say they're all D6s if you want, or you can make vigor a D8 but drop your strength to a D4. You decide what your stats are in point buy. D&D 5e, 4e, 3e all had variants of that or have variants of that. So everyone is balanced. There's no chance of that character that has crappy rolls at the table, and there's no chance of a character that has like godlike rolls. So as Deb says, and this is a good point, rolling only makes sense if you're going to churn through some characters until you get a good one. Most players don't dig that, I think. That's a good point for a lot of role-playing games out there. I think DCC is an exception, as are some of the old school games. That is part of the appeal of those games, that you get to see that character advance, who maybe is the unlikely hero, especially in Dungeon Crawl Classics, where your character is like a pig farmer that has risen to glory.
Yes, that's cool. Yeah.
And I think in the early days of Dungeon Crawl Classics, that was the point, and why it adhered so strictly to 3d6 in order. But as you move on, as DCC has grown, there's been people playing it more heroically. Lankmar plays it more heroically. You play the game more heroically, and it's tough with 3d6 in order to have heroic stats. Okay.
What's heroic mean? You're not like a superhero. What?
Well, in some games it does feel that way. I mean, it's at high levels you can feel like a superhero in a game like that.
Well, yeah, I guess.
let's. All right, well, let's move into the ending. I think we had some good conversation here. We're at the half hour mark. Let's wrap this up here. Good chat. Good debate.
Have an ASMR thing.
Think of one now while I'm talking.
Oh, sugar cubes.
For featured charity this week, we're going to stick with Feeding America at www.feedingamerica.org. Take a second and toss some dollars their way or contribute to your local food bank if you can. No Kickstarter shout out still. If you have some you'd like to send our way to add in, we'd love to see them. I'm not backing anything right now. So there you go. Road Crew shout outs. Rob, Savage Flea GM, is looking for a couple players for a Weird War 1 Tank Crew mini arc. So to be run on Roll20. So I know he posted that over on our Discord server that we were hanging out at. I'm not sure how to connect people to you, Rob, but maybe put it in the comments section here before we wrap up, or put it in the comments section on the YouTube video, maybe, to have folks seek you out. So he said, I don't want to say your email address out loud over the waves. If you see it here, you see it there. Do I think DougCon is happening online at Gen Con Online? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. I don't think Goodman's participating in Gen Con Online, are they?
I don't know.
Deb says, in a post-Diablo world, actual low-level play is a lost art.
I don't even know what that means.
I do. I'm just thinking for a second how much I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that low-level play, I think that's something that DCC has done well. I think there's not a lot of games that feature good low-level play, unless we're talking on a video gaming style, in which case I would say low-level video games, if you've enjoyed a lot of Diablo and all of that, your characters are gods, then go play Darkest Dungeon. That's I would say is low-level play on a computer game format or handheld format. You'll definitely get the low-level feel in that game.
Okay.
You want to play Darkest Dungeon?
I don't know what that is.
Last week was your Animal Crossing episode. Nothing. All right, where to find us? Judge Evie, where are we at?
We are at I Live for Crits on Twitter, Living for Crits on Instagram, and search Living for Crits on YouTube.
We would love to have a topic next week. We've been having a hard time thinking some up lately. I think there's a little bit of COVID malaise right now going on. So if you have any topics you'd like us to cover, please send them to dccjudgeevie@gmail.com, and we will definitely, bring it to the table and chat through it. Whatever it is. I mean, if it's a crazy idea, there's a good chance we'll discuss a crazy idea. Just don't ask us to read any books, because Evie won't do it.
I will not.
So stay safe, stay healthy, stay together.
I didn't think of anything. Okay, wait, no. I think I have an idea. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to wrap us up and say Sorgraz.
What?
My orc's name from
Oh.
Skyrim.
Oh, well, that's your guys' name. My Animal Crossing name's just Evie.
So do your ASMR.